Just going to tell you about it in her recap.
She's a hula hoop expert.
Oh, okay. Okay, we are live.
Okay. All right, call to order at 5:06. So do we want to hold off on approval of meeting minutes, or do you think it matters?
I think we're fine to
Okay.
approve them. I move to approve the minutes.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, minutes have been approved. Do we by chance have any public?
No.
Okay. Correspondence.
No correspondence either.
Okay. All right, Taylor, go ahead and discuss what you'd like to discuss with the open class.
Yeah, so I had visited a bit with Jessica in regards to trying to figure out how we can mail postcards to folks in the county to try and get more people involved with the open class. I don't know, Jess, did you get a chance? If not, that's good.
Yeah, so I did a few things. First, I went to the post office and asked them about it. And there's a couple different things. There's like a every door direct mailing, or there's like a bulk mailing. And so she referred me to Action Print in Helena, that they have the license to do the every door direct mailings. So I've called and visited with that guy, and it of course depends on how many addresses you are going to send. For the every door direct mailing, that's the one where you get that it just says postal customer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's not, doesn't have an actual address on it. So that works out pretty well until you get to the north end of our county or the south end of our county. So the south tip of our county, because it goes by zip code, and then each zip code is broken down by mail routes.
Okay.
So if you're going to deliver to one route, you have to deliver to that entire route. So if that's 700 people, even if only 200 of them live in Broadwater County and the rest live in Gallatin and Three Forks, every single one of them has to get an item. You can't divide it.
Got it.
And so he had me go, I went through and counted, just to give him a number, and he hasn't gotten back to me with a quote, but just the 59644, so Townsend, Tustin, the Raidersburg, and the Winston addresses. There's a little over 3,100 addresses to be delivered to. I didn't go to the 59635, which is the northern tip of the county, because that's East Helena.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing. The route just barely comes into the county, and then the rest of it would be East Helena. And so, and Three Forks is divided into two routes, but they don't, you know, there's the tip of the county. Of course, the two routes go this way and this way.
Right.
They don't go like top to bottom. So we would get the people in the southern tip, but we would get a ton of people in Gallatin County that would not qualify for our fare anyways. So I did not count them.
That's okay.
Or the northern tip. So 3,100, a little bit over 3,100 is the number. For that, the minimum size that you can send out is a 6 1/8 by 9 inch. And so there would be the printing cost and then the cost of the stamp on each one.
Okay.
I did go talk to Lindsay, and I and Allison visited about this in our meeting this morning. So I talked to Michelle, and she said the county had a bulk mail permit at one point because they thought they were going to use it for like a newsletter or something.
Right.
But it was never used. And so she said she's not sure if it's active or not. What I kind of found online, it sounds like it has to be like something that you like pay for like yearly.
Okay.
So she doesn't think it's active. She's pretty sure she got a piece of mail that said like if you don't use it, you're gonna
Use it or lose it.
Yeah. But she said even with the bulk mail, you do have to. So that one you can actually do an address on each piece of mail. So you would have to somehow get a list of every address in Broadwater County, mail merge it onto labels, and then probably looking at like at least over 5,000 addresses. Because
There's that many additional, you think, huh?
I think so.
Wow.
I'm not sure what the Three Forks, like the two Three Forks routes would have added 1,300 addresses, and the one East Helena route would have done 570, so 1,800, but some of, and all of those were Broward County. So I don't know, maybe not 5,000, maybe like 45. But still, she said she remembers when they were doing it, the postage really isn't, it's a discount, but it's not that discounted. She said it's probably about 75% of the regular price. So even like if we sent out 4,000 pieces of mail, and a postcard right now is what, 54?
I'm not sure of the postcard.
Yeah, it's more than 50 cents. That's the sad
So
part.
even if we were
It's
paying,
crazy.
35 cents for 4,500 pieces of mail, you're looking at $1,200 just for the postage, not including printing, and the address labels and the time to address them. So that's kind of where I am now. Like I said, I haven't heard back on his direct mail thing. My guess is it probably won't be any cheaper than doing the bulk mail, since they print it for you, they deliver it to the post office for you, they do all the things for you. So that's what I have about that, I guess.
Thanks for doing all that, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
I really do appreciate it.
It's something, I mean, you don't really
You don't know
know
till
how
you
to
know.
do. And she said, like, Michelle's never actually done a bulk mailing.
Oh,
And when you do it, she said there are some other rules. Like, you have to deliver it to the post office, because it can't go through our machine to be stamped, because she can't alter the price on our machine. And when you deliver it to the post office, you do have to like sort it by zip code. And like, there's some things you have to do and label them.
So it's not as easy as it.
No, it's not like you can throw everything in a box and take it out. Here you go, I got 4,000 pieces. So I don't know. I could see what Vaughn says when he calls back about the EDDM, but it's not as simple as we think.
Yeah.
there's an option too, and this isn't the same, but could help, is we can use text.gov, which the county is using now. And I got the list fully scrubbed because we had, again, addresses. They had imported addresses from all of like East Helena and Jefferson County, and had to scrub that list. So we've got it narrowed down. I mean, it's not everybody in the county, but it'll hit a good portion of people. It'll hit a couple thousand plus. And really, you just, it has to be short and sweet, and it'll just say, it would just talk about like fair entries are open,
check the website,
check out, and put the link in
Yeah.
there, right?
Okay.
And so that's an option too, that we could send out one of those.
Yeah, and how much does that cost?
The county pays for it. I think, the commissioners have used it, but we got the list scrubbed down. I mean, we have to pay for it in like 5,000 at a time, 5 or 10,000 messages. So like if I send out one text message to 2,000 people, that's 2,000 messages, basically.
Right.
So we haven't used it a ton. We haven't needed to. Now that we have the list kind of scrubbed, we'll probably use it more.
So I guess if we did something like that, would the commissioners look at what they cost and then
Maybe.
reach it out
Let
to
me
us?
ask about it. It's just something I thought of as an option today, and I'd have to ask and see what the other two think about the use of that. I know like Angie was going to use it for elections, and yes, she was going to purchase or pay for, 10,000 messages or whatever, so she could do election updates specific, but she would have a lot more to do.
Right.
Right. So let us look and see.
I just feel like we do Facebook. To me, I think that's great.
Well,
Good
we
enough.
do the newspaper
Right.
multiple times.
My thing is, they still are wanting more, and so that's why I'm just trying to find a happy medium, but I definitely don't think that
Well, it wouldn't hurt. You could send out a text.gov. It'll go to all the people who've opted in, which I said is like it's a couple thousand people plus.
Yeah.
I mean, probably over 3 total. So you'd get that out. They could go to the link if they're interested. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, then
Just a
maybe.
thought. let me ask and see how we
Yeah.
want to structure that. But yeah, it's not going to be a huge expense though.
Cool.
It's a lot less work than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mail is tricky, and with the cost of postage now, it's almost like illogical to even do it.
It's going up even at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
Michelle said.
Oh my god.
I know it's
Well,
ridiculous.
and if you go to the post office, you see all of that stuff sitting there on the countertop when you. go get your mail too.
Yeah.
That's
It's
people
gone
look
up like
through and
3
just leave all
times
their,
this last year.
Yeah.
all their stuff.
I thought
so.
there was laws that said they couldn't go up more than that in a year or something.
I try to use like UPS half the time. I mean, they're not a heck of a lot better, but the service is quick. And I mean, our post office here is great. They do a good job. But as far as, you know, like public interaction, but yeah, I try not to mail stuff, you know. So I'm sure they have taken a hit by everybody ordering on Amazon and having stuff shipped.
Yeah, but now Amazon
directly.
works with USPS.
They what?
Now Amazon works with USPS.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay, well then maybe we'll do a deeper dive on that instead. Maybe we could do postcards to the people that have done in the past.
And that's an option. We have,
I know you said you have.
I think I guess I'll have to look on Fair and Tree if there's a way to get, there is a way of getting report of exhibitors.
Yeah. And I'd be more than happy to do the legwork on that, come in some night and pull it all together. I'm happy to do that.
Well, that's not going to be near as much. I mean, it's going to be
Right.
And did we
max 100.
get other email addresses too?
Yes, for Fair and Tree, they have to put in an email.
You could shoot it out just
Yeah.
that way.
Does the county have access to something like Constant Contact or something like that
not that I know of.
for doing mass emails?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
All right, that's probably all that I have. I want to talk about it more, but I don't think it's worth it at this meeting. So just in regards to the dates, but I don't have anything else for today.
Okay. We'll move past vendors and rodeo. Karen, updates on 4-H?
I'm just doing a lot of workshops. That's pretty much what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Enrollment's good. We're still growing.
Okay. Good.
Is
Christmas
it-
tree fundraiser.
Pardon?
Christmas tree
Yeah, there's
fundraiser.
Christmas trees down at Rocky Mountain for $25 if you want a tree. It's pretty nice. They restock that every week or 3 times a week. So.
Okay.
Can I get a list of when you have your workshops? Maybe I could try and come and pitch open class to them.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. There's
I'm desperate. I'm
there's a
trying to be
multiple.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can send you a copy of our newsletter.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I would
'Cause it
actually
has the
connect.
workshops in the calendar.
That'd be great. If you wouldn't mind. Thanks, Jess.
Or we could find some of the bigger ones where there'd be,
Or just like things that are relevant to entering open class.
yeah. Or like QA.
Is it
When we do
newsletter
QA,
posted?
there's usually a lot of
Is the
kids
newsletter
there
posted?
that- for quality assurance.
Yeah,
Oh,
our
yeah.
newsletter is also available on
So
the website,
Okay.
on MSU Extension.
That'd be-
But maybe half the kids
Okay.
there then.
Desperate.
So.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Taylor. So our 4-H newsletter is also available on the MSU
Website.
Extension website every
Okay.
month too. And it has a calendar. The last 2 pages of the newsletter is the next 2 months of the calendar. And it has on the 4-H homepage, it has a list of events for each month.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll move on. Public relations, there's no updates from me. So we'll move on to Fair Board member letters of interest.
So I gave everybody a copy. Val, Taylor, and Karen are both up for renewal this year. All 3 of them sent in letters to remain on the board. No other letters were received. So I think we just have to have an official recommendation to take to the commission meeting.
Motion.
So we'll
yeah.
probably get it on the last meeting of the month. 'Cause we can't get it next week, it's too late, right?
Oh,
To
we
bring
mean
our board members,
to recommend, we'll do it in January. We'll
Okay.
wait till
try to get a bunch of them
Jesse,
done.
we'll wait till Jesse has started, so,
Oh, okay.
for that. So, yeah, well, we just want them to be able to do them in January. So
Okay.
just, whoever you decide on tonight, obviously, probably all of you, you'll just send that recommendation to us. And we'll approve it.
Okay.
Except for Sheila. I don't know if we're going to have Sheila back.
She's not even on the list, I don't
That's
think.
true. That's true. Never mind.
Nice try, though.
I meant Karen.
Summarily
Karen's questionable.
I mean, I don't really feel comfortable, like, moving
I know.
myself forward, so I
Yes,
don't
Sheila might
really,
have to make that.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I make the motion to present all three of these to the commissioners for approval. I recommend them. And I second myself.
You guys can second.
Is that terrible?
No, that's a,
Okay, I
There's
second.
nobody else.
Yeah, they should have showed up.
Yeah.
Come to our meetings.
It's not like we didn't give people ample notice. It's
I
in the
second
paper
that.
every week.
okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Well, we're recommending all three of them to continue their membership on this board. I think that was kind of a no-brainer, but that's okay.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I think we were talking about their terms today. So typically we're supposed to, like, when a board starts, everyone's staggered like a 1 to 2 and 3 year term, and then it's supposed to be 3-year terms from then on out.
I believe that's what the bylaws state is 3-year terms.
I think so. I know Val had said she wants to do 2 years.
Well,
I think it'd be like, okay, do your 3-year term, and then if she wants to,
I would say if she wants to resign after 2 years, yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of the only way to handle that unless we want to change our bylaws for
No, I think that's probably
for that.
I can
Agreed.
let her know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe, never mind. I was going to say state that in your motion, but you're in your motion, so you're good.
Okay.
3-year term, however, she is allowed to.
She's allowed to resign after 2 years.
Yeah, I guess I would just say all members for a 3-year term. But it's fine. It'll work.
Do you want to restate that? Do you want me to restate that?
No.
Okay.
We're good. Jess can communicate that to the commissioners if needed, but I don't think it's necessarily pertinent. I mean,
I don't think it's a sticking point.
she might change her mind and decide to stay on.
She might.
So,
She
you
might.
never know.
Yeah, okay. Now I've buried that. Okay, so we want to discuss the fair theme. It looks like, Jessica, did you print out?
So I did. I
Sort of
made
just a
copy
group
of
of-
this one from 2017 that the last few years themes have been decided off of.
Okay.
And then there's also some ideas on the back of the agenda.
Okay.
So what I was actually thinking, maybe like if everybody goes home and looks through these, or looks up some of their own, and maybe submits 3 ideas by December 31st. And then I can email everyone out a list of those ideas, and then we can, like, if you guys want to pick 2 and pick one for 2025 and one for 2026 right now, just so that it's already done, we don't have to revisit that for 2 years. So then after I give you guys a list of the top 3s, then everyone can vote top 2 out of the whole list and see what we come up with. Or we can wait until the January meeting and do it at the January meeting, or I just feel like it's something that could be done through.
I think let's get it started. Because there's a lot that hinges on it down the road. So.
Sorry, did you say pick for next 2 years or 3 years?
We can do whatever you guys want to do.
So we can send sort of our top 3. And,
Yeah, so
and
send
see-
3 ideas to me by
hopefully some of
December
those-
31st.
Okay.
And I will make one master list out of those ideas and then send it to everybody, and everyone can give me their top whatever choices, if you guys want to set the ones for the next couple of years or 3 years.
Okay.
I just say this from wagon wheels to Ferris wheels, and I think for what year did we just celebrate? 60? For 75 years, we should figure out how to get a Ferris wheel there.
I agree.
I don't know what year that is. My math doesn't do that. My head doesn't do that math. But that would be really cool.
She's still gonna be around.
Yeah, that's a long time from now. It's gotta be what, like 12, 13 years?
Yeah, 14. Last year was 16, right?
Last year was 16.
So this will be 61.
We're looking way ahead.
Hey, just mark it down, okay?
Is this a save the date moment?
And I think we did talk, the fair is very late this year.
It is. I hate it.
It is.
So
I don't know why we decided to do that.
It is.
No offense to anyone.
Very, what did you say, Karen?
It's late.
I think it's
The
just because of the way
7th,
it falls, yeah.
Yeah, it's August, well, Thursday, 7th, 8th.
Well, now they want it to
very
be the
late. Sorry,
First-
I kept hearing light when you said that. I'm like, how is it light? Okay.
first full weekend, right?
Yeah.
That's
They-
what their
Yeah.
thing is.
They consider a full weekend Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And that Thursday's the 31st or
And
something.
Thursday is July 31st,
Yeah.
so it pushes us back
Yeah.
a whole 6 days.
Okay. So Jessica, will you just remind everybody, send out that list, and we'll get our top 3 back to you by the 31st, and then you can compile that however you see fit. I'd be shocked if any of them overlapped, but
Yeah, I know that. There might
maybe
be another
maybe we'll get
list
lucky.
of 18 or something, but that's okay.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Let's see if this works.
Okay.
I think the one video you should just be able to click on, and the other 2 you just have to hit control and then click, and they're very short. These are so these are a few of the acts that I saw. So the top one there, if you just click like on the hula hoop or on the woman or whatever, it doesn't matter.
It's already thinking, and I don't want to confuse the
No,
thought
it's-
because it will-
Not in any order. Unfortunately, these are YouTube, so depending on
Are these people within our price range, Sheila? Do you know?
some are and some aren't, and some of them are depending on. So I talked to one of them, and they have already booked themselves, like in eastern Montana, and so they'd be willing to sort of discount themselves to be able to have sort of 2 fairs in a
The
row.
Bushnell guy,
The Bushnell guy is one of
because
them.
he did call, and I was like, listen, even your discounted rate, what is it? And he was like 8,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we can't afford you.
That's not what that is not what he and his manager talked about. So I'm not
Yeah.
really sure
I
who
was
called
like,
you, but
listen.
yeah,
I was like, listen, bud.
yeah,
Just give me the bottom line right now.
yep. And there's another one that has got something in eastern
They're in
Montana.
Culbertson,
that's-
you said.
There's a guy that's
8.
there's a guy that's actually coming from California. Was that him? I think so.
Yes.
And so, but what we talked about was like $2,000. So his price has gone up dramatically. So we're not going to get anything to play in here, are we? Play good at home.
This
Can we send the links out, and then we can just,
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I'll do that.
Wonder,
Perfect.
how do I try to get back?
Yep.
Did you enjoy? I missed it. Did you enjoy the?
It was great.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it was great.
Do I click on the hula hoop?
Yeah, just on the woman or anywhere on that video, and that should go ahead and play. But my experience with these is there's compatibility issues constantly. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
She moved.
yeah, there we go.
There's this one
So-
we found.
Oh, there you go.
Probably just, yeah, music. She actually performed and was very good. Unfortunately, she performed in the dark. You can see she's done much of that stuff.
Mhm.
And so the video wasn't very good, and then her microphone wasn't working. So she was interactive with the crowd, but only the first row of tables was
Yeah.
laughing at her and that kind of thing. So basically,
Was there more slides? There's more slides, right?
there are more slides, yeah. So basically what I picked out is kind of a few, so there's her, there's a group of people that do, they do sort of a small circus, but it's a small footprint, so their circus tent is sort of a 80 by 80 kind of thing, so it would fit in our venue. They do a lot of kids stuff. They do very, sort of minor circus things, spinning with the ribbons and a little bit of trapeze work and that kind of thing. Like I said, before we started, there's a bird sanctuary, and they do the kind of the raptor thing. There's a ton of different stuff out there. I didn't honestly grab any of the musicians, although I saw several that were very, very good, because we sort of know what kind of music we think is going to go well for our particular fair. There was one that was very bluegrassy. There was one that was very country. There was the gentleman whose price went from $2,000 to $8,000. So that's it's not going to do anything for us, is it?
Yeah, trying to figure out how to get back to the slideshow.
So the bottom line is I went to a bunch of the sessions, and some of the things I was discovering from the other fairs are there were several fairs that said that they're now being required to do background checks on their volunteers, which has caused them to lose an awful lot of their volunteers. It also costs the county money, and one county said it was to the tune of $100 a volunteer, and they've got a huge fair, so they've got 300 volunteers. There was one county that found their way around it by just having the attorney come up with a letter and having them sign it that basically says, I'm not a bad person and I haven't been convicted of anything, kind of thing. And that was how they worked their way around these background checks. But apparently more and more counties are being forced to do that.
And it's for their volunteers, not for their contractors?
No, it's for volunteers.
That's crazy.
Literally, if you're working around the public, or more to the point working around kids, you have to have this background check. And some of it is being forced by the state.
Okay.
Some of it is being recommended by the county. Some of it is being forced by the county. So it's all over the place. But it was kind of a huge point of contention with a lot of people.
They're probably worried about litigation. I mean, honestly, everybody sues for everything now. I could see if you had a fair volunteer, something inappropriate happened,
Right.
and whoever was the victim would probably sue the county for having not screened their volunteers. It wouldn't surprise me.
Slide on PowerPoint.
The
Just
arrow,
arrow down.
or the right arrow.
Either one you want.
It's sad because it's hard enough to find volunteers.
I know.
as
I'm
is
just gonna say-
anymore, you know.
From the county perspective, do we need to do that?
Oh,
Let's not even open that
Okay,
door.
cool.
If that's something like
Okay,
legal
no.
comes
No.
up with, then fine.
It's
we'll
it's
talk
something
about
to
it,
be aware of, but
Yeah.
not
well,
a
I think the
concern.
start for that was if they're going to do that, you think all board members, all volunteer board members.
It's a slippery slope, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a very.
Where do you draw the line?
Where do you
on
draw the
who
line?
has
Yeah.
and who doesn't?
Is an elected official considered a volunteer? Do they? I mean, let's get real about this. This guy was very interesting. He set himself up next to the conference area, and that's all he did was sit there and make balloon animals.
Oh.
But what he does and the way he builds himself is, do you need people to come back every day? So, for instance, like in our commercial building, we're always trying to figure out how to get people through the commercial building. This guy sits there all day and he makes this landscape. In this case, obviously, was the sea. So the first evening, he had the shark. Then the next day, he had like the turtle and the octopus. Then he put the rocks around the octopus. So he works over the course of like 3 or 4 days and creates this landscape of balloon animals. That the idea is to keep people coming back to see what he's doing every day. And then once you're there, the idea is that you're going to walk through and see what vendors or what commercial exhibitors that you have and that kind of thing. So he was very interesting.
Was he affordable?
Well, he was about $1,500, so for what he does, it's not necessarily affordable. So I'm putting this out here right now for you guys to kind of give some feedback, and I will go back and I will get some prices, and then the other thing I'm going to do is talk to some of the other fairs in our area, like in Montana, Idaho, and see if they're interested in the same person, and maybe we can get kind of a package deal on them. Because that's really the only way we're going to get anything like this outside of our area. Mm-hmm. This guy was amusing and a little bit strange.
That is creepy. That's so creepy.
I couldn't ever catch him out of character.
Yeah.
So he was always in a character, and so he was just odd. But he's got a management company, and and that kind of thing. But he's very entertaining, but he's just a little odd. So he's not probably for our fair, but he was very entertaining. This guy he's been on like, what is it?
America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent, but internationally. So he's been in like Australian, talent and Sweden and all that good stuff. He's a little bit holistic in like as he's swallowing swords, he's telling stories about his life and about that kind of thing. And so he's, again, a little bit odd, probably not for us, but so.
I think all of them have to be a little odd.
I was just going to say, this line of work, yeah.
They're performers, so this is just a quick snippet. I actually had about a 10-minute thing that I had put together, and when I realized that we were going to have to cut this really short, I was like, okay, I'll just grab a few things and put them together. So November 12th and 14th, the next RMAF is going to be in Billings.
Oh.
So I would like for lots of us to be able to go. And have that opportunity to go as a group and, at least have each other to engage with. Some of the things that people talked about in some of our sessions are corporate sponsors. For instance, the people that run the Metra and their yearly fair, which is obviously a lot bigger than ours, they sell the Metra's name to a different corporate sponsor every year. That's why one year it's a car dealership and one year it's, a tractor dealership and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So they sell that for a year. That might be something to consider. Put John Deere's name on like the rodeo building for a year and sell that sponsorship so that every time people show up there, they're seeing that particular name. One of the other things they do is make sponsorships event specific. So you don't want to just write a check and have it go to wherever, but you say, no, I want to sponsor this open class, or I want to sponsor, these 4-H kids or that kind of thing. And so they can say, this is what I want to sponsor, and you put their name specifically with that, whether it's the swine or whether it's, that kind of thing. So some of the other commercial ideas that came up, hemp tattoos. One fair had a barber, and it was very popular apparently. So all the kids that are getting ready to show their animals would go over and get themselves a nice haircut before that kind of thing. Escape rooms. Someone actually set up an escape room, if you're familiar with that. Someone had a dead area in their commercial area, and so they set up this big charging station for people to be able to charge their phones and that kind of thing. Homesteading is apparently kind of an up-and-coming or a big deal, that if you bring in someone that shows sort of homesteading items, that kind of thing. So these are just some ideas that were coming out of the sessions that I was in. Every fair that is out there monetizes everything. They have entrance fees. They have pretty much fees for everything. And I feel like we might be missing the boat a little bit on that. We're not really set up very well for entrance fees, just simply because it's just, you can go in anywhere and get into our fairgrounds. But these are kind of some of the ideas that I came back with, and some things to maybe think about. Maybe or maybe not this year, but certainly setting it up for the future. And apparently building sponsorships struck me because I put it in there twice. So, but that's all it was. So I just a very quick overview, some things to think about, some different ideas. I had some great conversations with some folks in Twin Bridges, some of the folks up in Kalispell, some of the folks out east in like Culbertson and that kind of thing. And we all thought that it'd be a great idea to get together and just say, hey, let's try to get this artist and have him do 3 or 4 days, and maybe we can all afford them.
Yeah.
So
That's a good
yeah.
idea.
I really like the balloon idea of like coming back each day. I don't really know if we can afford them or whatever, but I think that's a great idea. I also like the escape room. That's something I've never.
Mobile escape rooms. I've heard of it because it came up when we were talking about planning the senior party.
And I've never been, so I have no idea. But is it something where like we could figure it out ourselves to put on, or
like
no?
you could pack, like Reading Leaves has like little packages, like a little envelope that you can buy. It's like an escape room in an envelope, and I think like somebody like sets it up for other people to do.
Like
Maybe.
small, like a.
It's like your own, yeah, it's like a DIY escape room. And it's like, it probably has all of like the little puzzles and stuff and how to set them up. And
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See,
Yeah.
my thought it would be interesting to have the high school drama club, like actually build a room, because they build sets and that kind of thing. To actually build a room that's got, you know, the drawers and the weird little in the, you know, you pull the knob off the bed stand kind of thing, and actually build an escape room for us. It'd be a great experience for them, and then that would be another one of those monetary things that we could charge for, $5 for a family. You go in and do the escape room thing. And
I have reached out to the drama club to do things like strolling acts. We had a really good kid that was in line, remember? And I was told by the drama leader she does not work during the summer, and either do her kids.
wow.
Okay then.
I'm sure that I'm
even
sure
if it would
that
benefit
the shop.
Okay.
I feel like I could talk to Clint Watson and he might be able to help with like building of an escape room or something. He's really great about that.
The
kind
hard
of stuff.
part is it's hard to get a hold of kids during summer. They're
Right.
so freaking
But if they
busy.
if they build it during the school year,
Yeah.
and then
I think that's the only way that you could go about it.
right,
Because especially by the time fair rolls around, they're already doing
4-H stuff.
Well,
Sports
not
and-
that, but they're like,
They'll be into next year.
they'll be in open gyms and
Yeah.
Right.
football
They're
practices.
Yeah.
Getting ready
Yeah.
for the new school
Yeah.
year and stuff. Yep. That's a hard sell. So
That's the hard part is the kids that will actually do things are the kids that are so busy they don't have time to do things. Because believe me, I get that all the time. I get people calling here. I have something really good opportunity for some 4-H kids, and it'd be perfect. And we just need help for this or that and this and that. And I'm like, I can push it out there, but usually the kids that are willing to do it are the ones that are already booked solid. Like,
right.
extra time. And the ones that have time don't really care about doing anything extra.
They're the ones that you see their names 10
Kind of like
times
the adult,
over. Yeah.
like the adult volunteers. It's the same thing with adult volunteers.
Yeah.
You just get the same ones that make the time.
10% of people do 90% of
Yes.
the volunteering. Yeah.
So
100%.
So that's the down and dirty.
yeah.
That's good.
They are good ideas, but I think if we want them, we have to start early and
Right.
reach out.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to call Clint Watson. It's the one person I know and I can think of. So I don't know what to help you with anything else.
No. So and these are things that probably aren't going to happen this year, because it is late already. But these are things that we can think about for following years to sort of kind of grow our fair a little bit. And
Because I do like the idea of the escape room thing. We look into like the kits that you can buy to set up your own. Because you could possibly even do it in like a enclosed cargo trailer.
Yeah.
Something like that you could park in there and then.
Or even a horse trailer. I mean, we don't have to get fancy.
Something you could use multiple years too.
yeah.
Can use those.
If you put it in a cargo trailer though and close the doors, then it's like 20 minutes and they're in and out because it's going to be so hot.
Yeah, seriously.
A horse trailer would be better. It's more airflow.
Exactly.
Can I don't know what time it is. Do we have time to talk more about this, or should we move on?
Well, we have rental updates, and then if you'd like to
Yeah.
discuss
then I'd
something
like
after
to
that, should we do
back.
that?
So we do have, like I said, 2 paying rentals over the weekend, and then we have a 4-H club in there on Sunday. January, and we have Montana Farmers Union in there later this month. January starts to slow down. We do have a pesticide applicator training that we're going to be holding out there. And I got 2 weekends in May booked up this week. So 2 of the 4 weekends in May are already booked. Memorial Day weekend is booked. 2 weekends in June are already booked. Labor Day weekend's booked. 4th of July weekend's booked.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is booking up quickly.
So we haven't seen a decrease in bookings since we upped the rates.
No,
Great.
I wouldn't say not. No.
It's still probably significantly less than a lot of
It is.
places, even
Like-
with the rates raised.
I mean, honestly, sometimes when I share the rates with people, I feel like they're like, oh, and it's like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to some of the other folks that I spoke to at the conference, our rates are very low.
Right.
It's almost free to.
Well, and that's kind
most
of what I
people,
want to
so.
discuss is something that maybe, I don't really know if it's a larger conversation that we have another point in time, or if there's something where we work on like kind of our vision or mission. But, you know, talking about selling all the time, of selling the, whatever I wrote, the corporate sponsors and making money and all this stuff. I just am very much torn. I'm a part of the leadership group here in town, and I just think that it's something, do we want to turn into the community that we charge for everything? Is that what our goal is? Are we here to make money? I know we can offer more services when we do that, but I just think realistically I would love, and I only ask because it also goes into what I do also for the open class. Are we happy with what we've done? Yes, we were down a few, 10 or 20 people this year, but are we happy? Or are we really trying to grow it? Do we really want to try and do all these other things? Because if that's, and maybe this is from the county level, maybe there's an opportunity for us to try to get people involved and telling us what they want from us, but I feel like I'm just shooting in the dark a lot, and I don't know. And so,
From my point of view, I'm torn too, because I do think like we do try to do things and do more things and bring things in, but I also feel like I'm the only person that actually gets paid to do this stuff. Everything else is volunteer, and you just can't expect that much. It's like it's all great ideas and like this, but then when you get down to the nitty gritty, who's going to be doing that for sure, no matter what?
right.
It's just like building anything. Like when we were talking about master plans for facilities. Okay, that's great if we build it all, but who's going to maintain it and be working there 24 hours a day? And because somebody has to do that,
And I think that's really, frankly, in the leadership group, Broadwater County is the fastest growing county in the state of Montana and has been, I think, the last 2 years. Like, this is something that we really do need to address because we've already brought you on more for a longer periods of time, Jess, and happy to do that because you deserve all of it and you do all the work. But is there a point in time where we have to just say we need a full-time employee to do all these things? And I guess,
well, and another thing is we've outgrown our grounds too.
yeah, 100%.
Like you were talking about, even 80 by 80 doesn't seem very big, but we don't have room for anything. We couldn't even put anything probably 40 by 40 up out there. That's a permanent structure for the entire weekend. It would drastically cut our footprints for parking and for everything else.
Right.
Like we've outgrown it, especially if they do the water tower out there. We're gonna
Which they
lose
are.
that whole pivot corner.
So I think that really there just needs to be, and not to like point at the county, but I think it's like we need help, we need direction, we need, and not just from the county commissioners, they're elected, so that's why I go to that, because I work in politics, and they're elected by the community to, support and advocate on behalf of the community, but what do people want from us at this point in time, Do they want, I hear people want rides. Great. We will never be able to do rides unless we start charging in nickel and diming for everything. I am a very realistic person. I've been around. I know different counties. We have a small county fair. To me, we're probably never going to get that. Save your money, go somewhere else, and do the ride somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's offer what we can offer as a local county fair. But how much longer are we going to be a small county fair when we're the fastest growing county in the entire state for the last 2 years?
Well, and here's the other thing that I heard from people at the conference is that when I would tell them that we have a budget from the county, they were amazed. Most of them don't. Most of them are self-sufficient. So, plug your ears. How long before our county says, we can't afford you guys anymore? You know what I mean? So a little forward thinking is one of those things where we have to decide, what will happen in the future.
Yeah.
I think as small as we are, I don't honestly think our county commissioners are going to cut us off. However, we do have a new county commissioner, someone who's younger and maybe has some different ideas about things. And You know, we kind of have to sort of keep that balance and just keep it in mind that as much as I would love it to be just a small town fair and small town fairgrounds and we do local kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it may come to a point to where we don't have that opportunity at all.
Yeah, a lot of fairgrounds are completely like privatized
Right.
and not.
Owned by the county.
Mhm.
They're leased out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that could ever happen here because it's all county grounds, so it's going to be
Yeah, I mean,
oversaw
I don't know.
by the county.
I don't know. I know right now there's been zero discussion about cutting budgets for the fair. I don't know that even cutting the budget for the fair would, it's not that big
Yeah.
of a budget. I
We
don't
have a
know that it
budget.
would really make a dent. You know what I mean? Like that's probably not the first
right,
place
it's
that's
not
going to
that
get.
big.
Drop in the bucket.
It's not the first place you're going to look to cut expenses. That said, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
I think it sounds like you think of a fair. When I think of a fair, I do think of like the carnival and the rides and then the rodeo and all those types of things. But that's because I lived in Helena. We went to the Lewis and Clark County Fair, right? They had a big carnival. We don't have the space for that. But at the same time, I don't think you need to nickel and dime people. But if you want to bring in a higher quality of entertainment or something, you're going to have to charge at some level. But if it's cool enough, people will pay to go to it. You know, I think if you want to drive the people out there. That said, I don't think like you can't find other really cool local things for people to come and do. You know, fun activities like the escape room
It's a
sounds
fine
super
line
fun.
between bringing
Yeah.
in new things and keeping
Yeah.
people interested, but not making it so it's too much money or too difficult
them to
or
do it.
making it too expensive for them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Right.
families, just to go out there and have one meal as a whole family and go to the PTA carnival and, you know, and especially if they're going to go to the rodeo grounds, it's a good chunk of money for a lot of the families around here, you know.
And even so, for instance, and I just, because I'm from there, so sorry I always talk about it, but Fergus County, they started charging for gate entry, and the people were absurd. Like, they just, it was bad. It was terrible. I didn't think they were going to have a fair for a while because it was so bad. And then companies came in and they started paying. So, just making things up. Torgeson's or, you know, John Deere sponsored this day. The bank sponsored this day. So
Right.
someone's paying for that. But again, it's kind of coming in a different form. But then they're not, you know, sponsoring like they would in other ways. They're just paying for the gates. But I don't know.
Right.
But
I think it's definitely a fine line, because we don't have an overabundance of people as it is. And then
Right.
if you charge, you're going to get less.
Right.
I mean, some of those people won't come out.
right.
So did you hurt yourself, you know,
I
unless
mean-
you find an alternative
Yeah.
way of supporting the gate fee or something if you did one, but.
And so then the question becomes really, do we overextend ourselves on a budget one year and come up with a way to bring in a Ferris wheel or something really cool like that and see if we get better attendance? And if we do, then we can start saying, okay, now we can maybe charge for this, or, I mean, that's.
Well, and it takes so
you know,
long to
it's-
grow something. Like, people loved the big concert that we did for the 60th or whatever, but they're like, are you going to have them again? I'm like, no.
In 10 years.
Yeah, for the 75th, we're not even celebrating I don't know, I just made that up. But, like, and so it takes a while to build and build and build to get it to where you want it. And then as soon as you get it at your peak, it's going to crash because that's just how things go. But, I don't know.
I
don't
think if
think
you
we
have
can
a
afford
big
it.
draw like a carnival, people will come and pay money and go to the carnival. They get excited. They want to be there. It's cool. They don't have to drive to Helena. So yeah, I think people will attend. I don't think if you have, this is strictly my opinion, I don't think if you have just a Ferris wheel, it's going to be like a huge
Right.
driver. It's something
Exactly.
people will do, and they would probably pay, hey, I'm going to pay $5 for a few laps on the Ferris wheel, and it would just be a fun addition. I don't know that it's going to be a huge driver
Right.
to get people out there. It would be something fun in addition to people who are probably going to be and come out there anyway. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. It's a
And to go bigger, there's a lot of infrastructure
yeah.
considerations
and
as well.
and the space, like Jess was saying, the space is a huge issue. Where are you going to park? if you put a carnival in, it's going to take up the whole area where everybody parks. So
They used to have a carnival. Where was it? That's what I get told. They used to have a
It was,
carnival.
but
There,
it was a mini
So,
part. It was,
where
there
was
was
it?
like maybe
it
4 or
was on
5
the east
rides.
side.
For little
It's
kids, right?
between like where the commercial and the pavilion is now, but that is when 4-H also fit completely in the roping barn. 4-H didn't have to extend out of the roping barn, and so, you know, that like the carnival probably took up as much space as maybe the pavilion takes right now, but it was just
Right.
it was in a different. It was in
Yeah.
like the grassy area where we've run the flags.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or people park.
Yeah.
What is east of, when you drive in, what is east of that? Doesn't that also belong to the county?
Belongs to the city, and that's
Belongs to
where
the
the water
city.
tower is
It's
really
city,
going to
right?
be built.
But at the
Well,
same
it's in
time,
the corner, right? So that whole
No.
swath there
No.
is.
No, the pivot corner, it's all, the pivot corner belongs to the whole thing belongs to the city. They lease it out
They
to a
lease it out,
rancher.
right.
He allows us to use his pivot corner that he leases during Fair Week for parking and for overflow parking and for camping. But I hear the city is taking it back over and putting a water tower, right?
Yes.
In that pivot corner.
And that's the only thing he allows us to use is the pivot corner, the less.
Yeah, because he
He's
Farms
still,
it.
he's still working that.
I don't know what the city, I mean, that might be something to be worked out with the city, like where could we still park in available space?
Right.
It would be something to talk with them about.
Yeah, because he's just always allowed it.
Well, I'm going to table this because I'm watching the clock here. Poor Lindsay thinks I'm staring at her all night. I'm actually watching the
Great,
clock.
look at me, stern face.
But I think that maybe in January, I think we should take this back up and think about forward thinking. The fairgrounds itself, the fair, but all of it, you know, the fairgrounds, what sorts of infrastructure things should we consider if we want it to grow? What sorts of things do we need to approach the city with if we want it to grow, that kind of thing?
City, not county.
City,
City.
yep,
Have to distinguish that.
right,
But I mean, what's the vision for the fair?
yes.
You know, because it's what's the vision? Like, what do we want? I mean, what is, like, Mark County, they don't have a big production. And maybe it's about the 4-H kids, right? Those are the kids that are out there, they're doing it, they're showing their animals. It's about that. And then there's a rodeo. So, you know, maybe that's what the vision is. Maybe you're not trying to put on entertainment
Yep.
and having people out there, you know.
Agreed. I think it's just a discussion we should
Yeah,
have. Yep.
yeah. Just what's the vision?
I encourage the community to come.
I agree.
We have
That
0
means you.
listeners, just kidding, but you know, maybe they'll.
You could always call people before that meeting to have that discussion or reach out to some people, you know, have a list of 10 people you call and just get their thoughts. Like, what would your vision for our county fair be? And people who have lived here for a long time, people who are new, what would you like to
Can
see?
we put that in the newspaper? Is it an option?
Can you put what?
In the newspaper to encourage people to come?
I would just put on Facebook, make a few phone calls.
Okay.
Come.
No, I know. Okay.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and adjourn. And says here January 9th